Welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and start the Monday, June 15th legislation session. We'll call it to order at 5:29 p.m. If I could please get everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Yeah, and is there anybody in here who is on the Zoom meeting on their computer that has their mic on? Make sure it doesn't. Okay. All right. That'll bring us right in a roll call.
Larry Bowman,
Present.
Devin Perry,
Present.
Cassandra Gosnell, Carrie Bro,
Present.
Bill Campbell, Jesse Camacho,
Present.
Jennifer Martin.
Present.
And I've captured staff in attendance.
Okay. And then Bill did say he has a graduation to attend this evening, so he will not make it. And then I have not heard back on Cassandra. Council, what would you like to do about the absence of the two members?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. Move us on to agenda approval. We do have one addition. We're going to go ahead and move it to item A. Well, we're going to do A1 for, and then A2. And the addition is,
evaluation of report from Kevin Proctor.
all right. Council, what would you like to do about tonight's agenda approval?
Move to approve.
You have a second? All right, thank you, Ms. Morton. Any further questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. That'll move us on to, I don't see any announcements, presentation, council reports. Any? None?
I have some, but I'd rather discuss that after this because I don't even know the ins and outs of the issue. It's just someone came up to me and said that during a game at the park, Parks and Recs came up to them and told them to turn their music off. But they weren't able to substantiate why. They couldn't tell me why. So you know how that goes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can address that. The only thing that I got is today we were able to attend good show up from the city for the change of command ceremony at Fairchild Air Force Base to see new leadership brought in. It was just good to hear what Fairchild is involved in and the praise that they got from going back to a super tanker wing. And the two-star general that was here, along with General Bentley and a couple others, were just very adamant about not only the importance of Fairchild Air Force Base, but the importance of our airmen, how well they do their job. They were awarded recently, which I wasn't aware of, a Omaha award, and then a couple flying squadrons. Actually, all four flying squadrons have won a major award back to back to back to back. So it was pretty incredible to see. And then later on this afternoon, I attended Chewy's retirement out there from the wing commander. So that was kind of nice to, see him on his way out and talk more about his cabin in Minnesota he's going to retire to. So, but that's all I have. Yeah.
Great. Any staff reports? Albert?
One addition. This is for the CEDC. Just a reminder, we're looking to nail down the meeting date for June 16th or June 17th. I believe I heard from Councilmember Camacho with an interest on June 17th. If I'm not mistaken, that works for him. But for the other members, if they could just let me know, we'll get that scheduled and then on the calendar. Thank you.
Yeah, just mark me in for June 17th as well.
Any other staff reports?
Chair and Council, I just wanted to reiterate that we had the opportunity to meet with Congressman Baumgardner today at the Public Safety Service site. He came with his staff and team, listened to our needs about not only the building and the opportunities for funding in the future, but also the traffic impacts that we are going through on Highway 2. Several of us were there. It was an amazing opportunity for us to just talk to him and show what our needs, the needs we had here in the city of Airway Heights. He was very invested, and we were very appreciative that he was there to take his time with us after the ceremony today at the base. So, yeah, great opportunity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very good conversations for sure. Well, and he was our state senator for District 6 for a while, and he knows Airway Heights fairly well. But for him to see what we're actually doing and what we're building out in those requests, that's something that's invaluable to have him here in person. So, yeah, and you did a great job, Chief. Anybody else on staff? Nope. All right. That'll move us into item 8 here, which is public hearing on the transportation improvement plan. So we will go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:36 p.m. And then Cassandra is online. You got her.
Yep.
Okay. All right. 4 is
Team effort.
all right.
I'll just get started while he's gonna get connected to the Zoom and give him share privileges. So this is an annual process for the newer junior members of the city council. We're required by state law to come back every year with a rolling 6-year average of our proposed transportation improvements. This is a requirement of the state as well as local transportation management agencies, including our Spokane Regional Transportation Council. This is our priorities for projects based on largely our comprehensive plan that look at impacts of overall growth and jobs and housing on our network of roadways. This is focusing predominantly on what are called federally classified roads. So the state identifies basically types of arterials that are classified, and we identify improvements to address growth and their impacts on capacity. So this was briefed last week, and Steve's gonna head out into this for a little bit for you about some minor changes to that tip.
Thanks, Heather. All right, Steve Lutz, City Engineer, filling in for Public Works Director Miller. Just want to take an opportunity to highlight a few things that Director Miller highlighted last week. As you can see here, the 2 projects that Catherine asked to highlight are as follows. One is 21st Avenue roadway treatment from South Lundstrom all the way over to Hazelwood. It's an opportunity to partner with TIB if they select the grant to do a treatment on the gravel roads. It won't turn it into a paved surface, but it will take an opportunity to convert it into a little harder surface and also cut down on all of the dust. And as you can see, it will also allow the city to stretch its dollars with an estimated cost of $700,000, and the TIB would pick up approximately $560,000 of that. The next project I'd like to highlight is 9th and Hayford, an operational enhancement there at that mid-block crossing. Again, a TIB grant of approximately $320,000 we're applying for to install a Hawk safety crossing there to make it more safe and alert the motoring public, more particularly when somebody's in the crosswalk. So we've added both of those. This This just shows you where they're added in the tip. Don't expect you to read that. Here they're more particularly highlighted and show project 2028-4 and 2028-5. And we would ask that at the close of the public hearing, during the due course of the council, that the 6-year tip be adopted. Any questions? All right, thank you.
No, with that, is there anybody from council or public that would like to comment on the 6-year tip? Ready? Anybody online? All right, well, I am not seeing anybody, so we will go ahead and close the public hearing at 5:40 PM. That'll move us into tonight's consent agenda. Item CA1 is the approval of minutes from June 1 for city council meeting minutes. Item CA2 is the approval for the June 8th study session meeting minutes. And item CA3 is the purchase approval registry in the amount of $31,220.50 as far as a payment to Payne Hamlin. Council, what would we like to do about tonight's consent agenda?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. That moves on to action items. Item A1 is going to be the investigation report. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Gibbons.
Thank you. So let me first say that I may need to be careful with my comments. It's possible that I may want to decline answering specific questions on the record during this open public meeting and suggest that a particular question might want to be addressed in some executive session in the future. There has been a threat of litigation against the city. To provide a little bit of explanation as to why we're going to discuss this in open session, RCW 4230 110-1F authorizes the city council to receive and evaluate complaints or charges brought against a public officer or employee in executive session. However, the next sentence of that statute says, however, upon the request of such officer or employee, a public hearing or meeting open to the public shall be conducted upon such complaint or charge. And Mr. Tripp has elected to have this occur in the open session. The report from Mr. Proctor was provided to the city council via email on Friday. The findings in that report were, number one, the complaint for alleged hostile work environment was, quote unquote, by his own admission cannot be substantiated. And the second finding, the complaint for alleged workplace retaliation was, quote unquote, cannot be substantiated. There are 3 recommendations in the report, and I'm going to paraphrase these. The first was that a written warning provided on December 3rd, 2025 be changed to a first written warning. The second was updating the employee handbook, which would include a provision providing for what occurs and how a complaint would be processed if that complaint is made against the city manager. And the third is that if training is not current, have the city conduct discrimination and harassment-free workplace training. Those were the comments I wanted to make. Does anyone have any questions that I might ask my partner, Kim Campbell, to address?
So as of now, is it right to assume that our workplace harassment training is not current?
I don't know the status of it. I did not specifically look into that over the last week or so. I don't know the answer to that.
I do. We have annual mandatory training for everyone on anti-harassment.
Okay, but as far as policy, is it current, or are we going to work on it, or where is this supposed to? If we're leaning against conduct discrimination. And we're talking about such training is not current. Is this just on an individual basis where we go in and get the training, or do we have a actual policy that says this is how much time and this is how much time has to elapse before we get this training current?
It runs through our HRIS system, Bamboo HR, and the training is pushed out annually to every employee. It's required training.
Okay, and that required training, of course, is on our website. And who ensures that this training is being done, or do we do it as an individual, on an individual basis?
HR, so my position, makes sure that the training is completed by everyone.
Okay. There, thank you.
I want the council to know I have a recommendation as to what we do now, but I don't want to squelch any questions or anything. And I don't know if anyone else wants to make any particular statement or anything of that nature. Just don't know.
Oh, Mr. Tripp, if you want to address, any of the items on here.
I do. I have a statement that I prepared that I'd like to share with the council in reference to this. Let me first start by saying, good evening, Mayor and Council. In regards to the things of which Mr. Gibbons just spoke of which I am accused by Mr. Kennedy, I consider myself fortunate that I'm about to share my defense with you today, especially since several of you, along with others in the room, were present during the time frame that I'll cover. Therefore, I ask that you listen to me patiently. Most community members know my background. About 9 years ago, I came alongside Mr. Kennedy and others in the community to ask voters to consider approving a bond to fund the recreation center, because I was convinced then, and I'm still convinced, that children in the community need positive opportunities to be engaged instead of wandering in the community. We have a dust storm, but I kept this sign, this dusty sign, in my garage as a reminder of the work, because I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish as a community. Since most people know my background, if they were asked to speak on my behalf about my work relative to the facility, they could tell you that my work has been focused on growing the facility, providing additional services, and trying to have it achieve its vision. And now I'm providing a defense for taking actions that support this work. For this work, council, I've been accused by Mr. Kennedy. We have the same responsibility for serving the community through this facility and services. And I'm being accused for pursuing this service, and as you will see, insisting that we provide the service we were asked to provide. Why is it so incredible that we would have an expectation to serve when we're put in positions of service? So then my focus as a manager of the director in the department was on having the director run it like a business, so that the limited extra funding the city has could be available to support the department work and other public services, the public requests like police, fire, court, building, planning, and roads. My intent has been to prevent the wasting of public tax dollars. My work has been focused on having a director pursue external partnerships to expand the availability of services to the people we serve while reducing the city's operating costs through cost sharing. Many of you have heard me say more times than I can count that many hands make light work. My work has been focused on having a director pursue local, state, federal, and nonprofit grants to, again, expand the services offered to the community while reducing the city's operating costs. It's been focused on having a director perform community engagement to connect people who don't know about the services the city provides with access to them, and to extend the reach of who we are able to serve. In pursuing greater collaboration by the department with other departments and amongst the individual staff members, because we all know we can accomplish more as a team. My work has been focused on having a director ensure we have the right balance of staffing at the facility to meet our needs without it being overstaffed. And for the past 3 years, my focus has been on attempting to shift the rec center operations to run like a business. The solution is simple. Spend less than the revenue you collect. Use the excess revenue left over for breaks, fixes, and savings. So, City Council, I did not take my responsibility to perform this work lightly. For the past 3 years, I've been asking and setting these expectations and have been subjected to a coordinated, systematic pattern of intimidation and harassment. For these reasons, over 2 years later, I was accused of creating a hostile work environment and retaliation while I provided a written warning to former Director Kennedy in December 2025. The pattern is clear. On October 5th, 23, after it becomes apparent budget reductions would be necessary for the department due to lowering levels of LTAC funding, a whistleblower complaint is filed alleging misappropriation of public funds. The complaint was not founded. Prior to November 12th, 2025, following the identification of the general fund budget shortfall, the accuser communicates his displeasure with possible budget reductions by contacting members of the council without including myself on the communication, stating, "No reason to. Why would I?" On December 3rd, 2025, during a written warning disciplinary process for insubordination, among other matters, the accuser interrupts and indicates a desire to file a hostile work environment and workplace retaliation complaint based on a October 23 whistleblower complaint. During Mr. Kennedy's interview, he was asked if he has been or felt discriminated against based on a protected class. By his own admission, he acknowledges there has been no discrimination based on a protected class. During Mr. Kennedy's interview, he was asked for specific examples of retaliation tied to his 2023 whistleblower complaint. He gave no examples of retaliation tied to his 2023 whistleblower complaint. And the result of this investigation that I received June 12th indicates that the allegations of a hostile work environment and a workplace retaliation are unsubstantiated. So, having participated in an independent investigation performed by the city, I stand here today giving evidence of the expectations I set and continue to have for the department. These are expectations any city would have to avoid wasting taxpayers' funding. These are basic expectations that anyone entrusted with public service resource should agree are important. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tripp. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, I'm not seeing any. And then Dan for the recommendations.
I recommend that the council move to adopt Mr. Proctor's report and authorize city staff to implement the recommendations contained in it.
All right. Council, what would we like to do about adopting Mr. Proctor's report and the changes therein? The requested changes therein.
Move to approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second? Have a second. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, I passed unanimously. Moves on into item A2, which is the simple possession advocacy and representation grant. Floor is yours.
Sorry, can you please repeat that, Chairwoman?
Oh, item A2, the simple possession advocacy and representation SPAR grant.
Thank you. Yep, sorry, I just broke out there a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a grant that we applied for our new public defender, Aaron Nelson. And so I request that the city please approve this grant for $17,100. This will reimburse us for salary and fringe benefit costs for Mr. Nelson for overseeing our those particular eligible cases.
All right. Any questions or comments from council? All right, council, what would you like to do about the simple possession advocacy and representation grant?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that also passed unanimously. That'll move us on to item B, which is the acceptance of the BJA Bulletproof Vest Grant.
Yes, so this grant is for $4,152.79. This particular grant will reimburse us 50% for any bulletproof vests that we purchase for the Airway Heights Police Department. This grant will start July 1st and end on June 30th, 2028. I ask that you please accept this grant.
All right, any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All right, council, what would you like to do about the vest grant?
Move to approve the bulletproof vest grant.
Have a motion, do you have a second? Thank you, Ms. Morton. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that too passed unanimously. That'll move us on to ordinances. Item C is ordinance C-1127, amending Title VI. And then if you could, when you're reading these, just differentiate if this is first read or second read on these.
I believe this is the first read. Yeah, first read on this one. Ordinance C-1127, an ordinance of the City of Airway Heights, Washington, repealing and replacing Title VI of the Airway Heights Municipal Code relating to animals and other matters properly related thereto.
Good evening, Chair and Council. We were able to talk about this and brief about it at the last study session. So the City of Airway Heights contracts with Spokane County Scraps for animal control care and services. Scraps has requested the city make changes to Airway Heights Municipal Code Title VI to be consistent with the animal control regulations of Spokane County. And the proposed ordinance provides for the requested amendments.
All right, and this is the first read, correct, of this one? Okay, so we'll see it back in 2 weeks. All right. Well, everybody good with that? Move it.
Captain, and I know you stressed the point of trying to align things so that we don't have all this confusion. When things have to be done, we want to be on the same sheet of music. So that was one of the main reasons
Yes.
for this change, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And Scraps specifically requested a change to the agreement between the city and the county provides that our ordinances be consistent.
Thank you.
All right. It is so moved. And then item D, ordinance C-1128, the virtual currency kiosk ban.
This is the first read of ordinance C-1128, an ordinance titled Virtual Currency Kiosk Prohibition for a Safer Airway Heights relating to the elimination of virtual currency kiosks within the City of Airway Heights and adopting a new chapter 8.17 to Title 8 of the Airway Heights Municipal Code.
Again, Chair and
Go ahead,
Council,
Captain.
thank you. We did brief this again at our last study session. So just to remind you, during the May 26, 2026 study session, Council expressed interest in reviewing an ordinance that would ban virtual currency kiosks in the City of Airway Heights. The attached ordinance provides a regulation that would restrict the use of kiosks in the city.
All right, and this is also a first read, so we will see it back in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Any questions or comments for the captain on this? All right, it is moved forward. That'll bring us into item E, which is the 2026 updates to the salary ordinance.
As discussed last week in study session, there's the three positions approved for the 2025 salary ordinance that were not included in the 2026 that we just want to bring forward, as well as the addition of new positions to the 2026 salary ordinance of an accountant 1, a 2, a rec center and rec programs manager, a public records manager, and a public records analyst. One change from last week is we are no longer requesting to eliminate any positions. They will all stay in the salary ordinance.
The chair and council, building on this conversation from last week, in which the council expressed concern regarding the elimination of director's position. Thank you for that feedback and for that input. And after reconsideration, as Ms. Moses noted, the proposal that you see before you tonight does not include a recommendation to eliminate the position. So we're proposing to retain that position. And of course, after council takes action on it, would then proceed down the process for recruitment.
All right, any questions? Go ahead.
I understand that the The ones that were proposed, they were not proposed into the 2026, correct?
The three positions that were in the 2025.
Yes, that was like the top.
Yep.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
And why weren't they on there?
Well, in 2026, I only brought forward filled positions, not any vacant positions.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the way that it has to work. Vacant positions can come forward into the salary ordinance.
I'm sorry.
Vacant positions can come forward into the salary ordinance. It's not
Okay.
intended to just be filled positions.
Okay. And so on the number 2 of the breakdown, are the accountant 1 and 2, are they new positions?
They are, it's the accountant, we're only hiring one accountant, but I wanted it, they could either be at a level 1, a 2, or a 3, but then we would need each position separate in the salary ordinance.
Okay. And are those budgeted in this year's budget, that money?
Yes, because we have salary savings from vacant positions, such as the HR manager.
Okay, and so branching off of that a little bit, you said you do HR?
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Accounting, finance.
Accounting and finance as well?
Mhm.
So while I see the benefits to sharing some jobs positions, I guess my concern is everyone getting spread too thin? I mean, you have a massive workload, I'm sure, to take on other responsibilities, and other people within the city are taking on other responsibilities.
Mhm.
How are we making sure that everything is going the way that it should?
I can speak to that. I think it's fair to say that everyone you see in this room is taking on additional responsibilities, and it's not coming from a place of a desire to do so naturally. We could utilize additional staffing at a variety of different locations, but the reality of the resources just aren't there. And so the additional duties that the staff here in this room and others throughout the organization are taking on is just trying to make the limited dollars the city has stretch further. Having said that, with respect to the HR component, part of this process does anticipate using some of the salary savings to focus on a HR specialist position to take on some of that particular workload. But if you're to ask me, and based upon my interactions with other departments, whether or not there's a need for additional people, absolutely, 100%. The resources just aren't there, though. And so we're trying to think about this thoughtfully in terms of how do we continue to do more with less, while at the same time making sure all the bases are covered. Because first and foremost, we take pride in the work we do, and we want to make sure it's done right first time without having to redo it. And so that's in the forefront of our minds.
And I guess that one, because we're not eliminating any positions, but I guess part of my concern was, if we're eliminating the payroll accountant, who do we have doing payroll?
We're just not defining it as payroll anymore. It's an accountant 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
Will handle all accounting duties of the city and not designated as utility billing, payroll accountant, etc.
And so we're already advertising for these positions. My understanding that I've been asked about out in the community that, oh, we see that you guys are hiring. And because we have been extremely vocal and communicative with our public and our citizens that we are in a budget crisis, they are not understanding the background of it, that, maybe this money is there. And I've reassured them of that. But some people are angry because they're like, well, gosh, you're, making all these, changes and saying we need to cut back and we need to watch what we do. I guess maybe just be aware.
We appreciate that. And, the work that we do as a partnership, we invested a considerable amount of time internal to the organization with staff, and also, of course, with the council, walking through the why and the how. And so as you hear our concerns or emerging concerns coming up in terms of how are you able to make sense of this? Why are you guys doing it that way? We would love to know that and be a part of that conversation, because you know, as you can attest through conversations that we've had, we're not expanding the budget. If anything, we're proposing to shrink the budget and just utilize the existing funding and the different positions in a different way to accomplish more with less.
And I get that, and we all get that, but what the public sees unfortunately is different. And so, I mean, I always follow up the conversations, you know, if they have any questions, you know, be sure and get a hold of you, but.
So that would be wonderful.
Okay.
Can I say something? So you said you've spoken to some people who are angry.
Angry / frustrated that they're
Okay.
saying, you know, that what's been put out there is that we're in a budget crisis
Okay.
and now we're hiring.
Okay, and you had the opportunity to discuss with them where we are as a city
I did.
when it's been brought up?
Yep.
Okay, and did you encourage them to reach out to?
That's what I just said.
Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, so maybe it will behoove us to do a little more education to the citizens to let them know what's going on, so there isn't confusion and they're not getting secondhand information. That might be helpful. I'm not sure what that would look like, but that could be
Yeah,
an
and
opportunity.
we can certainly prepare more and share that out.
Thank you.
Because I think the bottom line of everything that we propose here and this and what we've been talking about over the since October, it's about how not to ask the public for more money to do more, but rather how to stay within the existing budget and actually reduce the budget so that we can save for the unforeseen emergencies.
Well, and I mean, the public's always going to go for the negative first. Unfortunately, in some, you know, circumstances, they're going to see that, you know, well, you're spending money and you told us we're supposed to save money. And so, you know, they don't understand the whole gamut of it. It's a valid concern. But
Yep, we will definitely focus on providing more public education. And again, as you hear different concerns that arise, let myself know, and we'll certainly work with those individuals to try to help.
absolutely.
A question for clarity. So the positions are coming back into the salary schedule. But as far as the reorganization, as far as parks going under public works, is that still the case? And so.
Yeah, from a maintenance standpoint, as far as part of the reorganization, what we're looking to do is have the park maintenance in terms of grass, irrigation system, things of that nature be maintained by public works. We noted earlier that, you know, the thinking around that is that some of those same needs that exist on the park side, such as cutting grass during maintenance of large open spaces, things of that nature, the public works teams, they already do that. The treatment plant, that's a 70-acre site that they maintain. Same with well sites and what have you. And so what ends up happening is that you buy equipment over here, you buy equipment over there, and you got people over here doing it and people over there doing it. And to the degree parks are struggling with being able to recruit folks to do the maintenance side on the park side, this proposal seeks to provide them with essentially a bigger bench, if you will, more people to be able to do the work. Many hands make light works, and then sharing of the equipment without buying duplicates.
That makes sense. So then like the Parks, Recreation, Community Services Director, that's in there with the intent to be rehired, or posted. And then so is that title the same? And are they just, or I'm just kind of confused on the roles then?
Yeah, sorry about that. So as I noted earlier, the intent was not to remove the director role, but rather to actually retain that role based on the conversation we were having last Monday. The title though would change, you know, it would be reflective of, you know, parks not being there as far as like the maintenance side is concerned. But having said that, looking forward into the vision there, the aspect associated with like park planning and things of that nature, level of service and stuff of that nature would still be on the recreation side.
Sure.
Why the maintenance is
sense.
being done by public works.
Right. The planning and growth and outlook, but the
Exactly.
maintenance is under public works, which makes sense. Okay, thank you.
Even if a position is not being filled at this time or anything else, it's still on here as just to have that clarity that even though a position is on the salary ordinance does not mean that there is a person actively sitting in that position at this time. So it just means it's there, it's budgeted, and it's, you know, and we're trying to use, you know, our resources wherever we can to ease the burden and lighten the load because we are in a budget shortfall right now. So absolutely, you know, we're trying to do whatever we can with what we got, and yeah, we just appreciate all the hard work.
Mr. Chair and Council, just to wrap up on this topic, As you know, we've been talking about the plans for how to save the city money by this reorganization, reducing costs in different areas since October 2025. The target was for implementation here around the 1st of June. And so based on the ongoing conversation and this refinement we presented this evening, we would ask the council to take action on it so that we can implement on this while there's still time to do so. Obviously, it's further we move into the future without implementation, the less we have the ability to be able to save.
So you're asking for us to pass the updated salary ordinance tonight on a first read?
That's correct. And that would allow us to get going with the recruitments that we talked of earlier and start achieving the cost savings sooner rather than later.
All right, council, what would you like to do?
Move to suspend the rules for passing ordinance on a first read.
All right, I have a motion to suspend the rules. Is there a second? All right, there's a second. All those in favor? All right, that's unanimous. All right, regarding the updated salary ordinance, council, what would you like to do?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Any further questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that too passed unanimously. All right, I'll move us into resolutions. Item F, resolution 2026-013, accepting all of volume 1 and the Airway Heights portion of volume 2 of Spokane County Hazard Mitigation Plan update.
And Mr. Chair, I'm happy to cover this on behalf of Chief Metzger after Ms. Moses reads the resolution to the record.
Resolution number 2026-013, a resolution of the City of Airway Heights authorizing the adoption of the Spokane County Hazard Mitigation Plan and the Community Wildfire Protection Plan update.
So Mayor and Council, you'll recall from previous exercises, emergency management exercises we had approximately a month and a half ago over at the fire station, that this particular update was one of several that Chief Metzger indicated that he was working on with the Spokane County Emergency Management Team. That this planning effort is much broader than Airway Heights, but as part of the process, Airway Heights has to adopt this particular body of work for itself as a part of the Metro Plan. And so we brought forward this resolution to ask for your consideration so that this updated copy can be reflective of the community's need going forward.
Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All right. Council, what would we like to do about item F?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? All right, that motion passes with a 5 to an abstention. Then, Ms. Quizno, were you a yes or no on that actually? Yes, okay. And that passed unanimously. That'll move us on to item G, resolution 2026-014 for the 6-year tip.
Resolution 2026-014, a resolution of the City of Airway Heights and adopting the Airway Heights 6-year transportation plan for the calendar years 2027 through 2032.
Public Works would ask the council approves the tip so that we can press on with our program and also seek those grants necessary to get our projects done.
Council, what would you like to do about the approval of the 6-year tip?
Move to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Either or. All right, any further questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, the tip is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, that moves us on to the resolution 2026-015, Public Works Standards. The floor is your guys'.
Resolution number 2026-015, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Airway Heights, Washington, adopting public works standards.
All right, as was briefed at our last council session last week, this is just an update to our public works standards. As I stated last week, we're on a mad dash to keep these relevant and updated so that development can occur in a timely and manner that's according to the industry standards. We will continue to update it as things come along, and it's likely that sometime probably next year I'll be in front of the council again asking for another update. But for now, Public Works would ask the council approve this current update.
All right. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All right, council, what would we like to do about the 2026-015 Public Works Standards Resolution?
Move to approve.
A motion, do I have a second? I have a second, thank you. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All those in favor? All right, that passed unanimously. All right, thank you guys. I don't see anything for the Transportation Benefit District. Sign-ups for public comments. We have one on there right now. And then much. All right, and that was Kayla, correct? All right. No, it's all right. And then as far as public comment, we're actually open the floor to the citizens for public comment and to allow for 3 minutes to address council on items. If you could please state your name, your address, and then we will.
Business address? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Kayla Cartelli. My business address is 13026 West McFarland, A1-3, over in the West Spokane Industrial Park. So, sorry, okay. Okay.
Good.
I'm Kayla. I'm the owner of American Fire Cash. We're a wildland and firefighter supply store over in the West Spokane Industrial Park. We are a family and firefighter-owned business, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about some ongoing issues we have had with the Airway Heights Fire Department. We've been having ongoing issues with what should have been a routine fire inspection and the lack of professionalism we have experienced in multiple interactions with the Airway Heights Fire Department. DC Story came to our business on 4 separate occasions seeking to conduct the inspection during business hours. On each occasion, my staff and I simply asked for him to schedule an appointment if I was present, or my staff when I was not, as the previous inspectors have done. We requested that the inspection take place outside of business hours to not interrupt operations and that we could be present to address any concerns. We were repeatedly told that he did not do appointments and did not have a calendar. On his 4th visit, while I was holding my crying baby and my COO was was about to enter a meeting, he told me, "You don't have a choice, it's happening." We asked him to come back at an appropriate time. I later spoke with other businesses in the city and was told that inspections had in fact been scheduled for the reasons I stated previously. Rather than simply scheduling a time, DC Story returned with a police officer and copies of the fire code stating that he had the right to do the inspection. I never objected to the inspection itself. I acknowledged that the city has the right to do the inspection and simply asked for it to be scheduled. He eventually agreed with the officer present. During that interaction, he made comments about waiting until my COO, Mike, was not present and spoke negatively about him. I found these comments inappropriate and unprofessional and have requested the body cam footage to document exactly what was said. Because of the deterioration of trust, I requested that a supervising chief be present during the inspection. That request was denied. When Story returned on June 3rd, no supervisor was present, and after he left for personal reasons, the inspection again was not completed. Later that day, Chief Metzger called Mike, my COO, and threatened to obtain a warrant to conduct the inspection that we have never refused. Since then, we have repeatedly attempted to cooperate by proposing dates, following up with email, seeking assistance from city leadership. During our June 9th meeting with City Manager Tripp, he acknowledged that scheduling the inspection should have been simple and there was no reason our request could not have been accommodated. However, despite our concerns regarding professionalism and our request for supervisory conduct, we were told that only Story would conduct the inspection and that a supervisor would not be present. At one point during the meeting, Mr. Tripp stated that he did not understand why we were meeting with him over a fire inspection. I explained that this was never about the inspection itself. It was about the conduct of the fire department, the leadership, and accountability. As the direct supervisor of the fire chief, I believe he should be willing to hear the concerns from the public to ensure that city employees uphold professional standards. Unfortunately, this is not our first experience with unprofessional behavior from the Airway Heights Fire Department. When our 1-year-old son suffered an anaphylactic reaction at our business and was transported by ambulance, firefighters attempted to recruit my husband to join the fire department. I'm done. I'm over time.
Yeah, and
Okay, that's
that
fine.
we have time. So with that,
Yeah.
you know, can we ask for a follow-up and
Absolutely. So Chair and Council, I'll follow up with Ms. Curtelli in reference to the inspection. As she noted, we did meet last week, if I'm not mistaken. And as she also noted, it seems like the need is pretty straightforward, getting an inspection schedule, which is the straightest path to a resolution on the matter. And so I will work with Chief Metzger and Mr. Story, and in order to get that schedule during a time frame that works for the business owners, and we'll get it completed.
okay, will that work for you?
We do have it scheduled for tomorrow morning. My problem has been with the behavior. I'm not going to quote what was said during that initial meeting with the body cam until I have exact, because I don't want to misquote DC Story. However, it was incredibly unprofessional, and I do not appreciate somebody speaking in my business about my COO, let alone my husband and the father of my children in the way that he did. It was incredibly unprofessional, and I do not want him back in my business. And we are a business that serves firefighters. We are a firefighter family. So that's the problem. It really has nothing to do with the inspection. It has to do with the behavior that I've seen on repeated instances. That's all I want, is for the leadership within the fire department to be held accountable and to protect and serve its community. That is all I'm asking.
Okay. And then, Mr. Tripp, to address these concerns, have you had a conversation with Mitch or anybody on?
I have. I spoke with Chief Metzger last Friday. I think that was following our meeting on site, but I will follow up with him tomorrow in reference to this as well. As I mentioned earlier, I think this is pretty straightforward. The inspection needs to be performed. It's an annual inspection. Ms. Curtelli and her husband desire to have it. The city has the resources to perform it. It's a matter of getting it scheduled and advancing forward with it. So we'll continue to work with both parties in order to get that achieved.
All right.
Is there a reason that, you know, they're requesting an appointment that was not granted?
From my recollection of our conversation last week, there's been at least 2 to 3 appointments. So Mr. Story sounds like prior to my meeting last week was there prior scheduled for an inspection and an officer there with him. And during the course of that, he received a personal call indicating family emergency at home, and he had to leave for it. So it didn't take place. There's been no subsequent inspection scheduled since then. And so when I left on Friday of last week after speaking to the Curtellis, my interest was in, we weren't able to achieve that one. Let's get another one scheduled on the book so we can get it completed. And then, of course, Ms. Curtelli spoke this evening. So I think the next step is still finding out what's the best date and time to have the inspection scheduled, and then getting it scheduled and going in and performing it.
So, well, it sounds like they have
It's tomorrow.
yeah, they have it scheduled for tomorrow morning. So I think the request is just for, you know, professionalism and making sure that, you know, and obviously we don't know, we weren't there, you know, about what happened. So if there's any other concerns or whatnot, please reach out to Mr. Tripp. And
I don't believe that Mr. Tripp and I will be speaking again on this matter.
all right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Is there anybody else from the community who would like to address council at this time? Go ahead. And same thing applies. 3 minutes to address council, sir. Floor is yours.
While those are being passed out, let me just say that my name is Hank Beinecker. I'm a current civil service commissioner for the city of Airway Heights and a former city council member, as well as volunteer. I reside at 12420 West 5th Avenue, Airway Heights, Washington. Everybody's got a complaint in front of them. And I would like to simply read this complaint into the record. The complainant is myself, Hank Beinecker, and the respondent is Mr. Larry Bowman, Mayor, City of Airway Heights, Washington. My complaint is misconduct, malfeasance in office, and a violation of oath of office. At the legislative session of the City Council on Monday, May 20th, 2024, Mayor Bowman falsified information pertaining to a survey that he claimed he performed at the Airway Heights Recreational Center, centering around 2 pieces of gym equipment that were in demand. The majority of the City Council relied on that information in spite of Rec Center Director Mr. J.C. Kennedy's statement that he didn't need the equipment and actually had no space for the equipment unless he moved some things around. This resulted in a 4-2 vote in favor of spending public funds to purchase the 2 unbudgeted pieces of equipment at a cost of some $7,800, in spite of having higher priority needs for the monies, which would be drawn from the reserve fund. At a subsequent City Council meeting, Mayor Bowman was asked to produce a copy of the survey that he had conducted, and Mayor Bowman admitted that he had not conducted said survey, rather that he spoke with some people at the rec center. This egregious misconduct is a violation of Mayor Bowman's oath of office, violation of the public trust, and constitutes malfeasance in office. And the remedy I'm seeking here is that Mayor Bowman should resign as mayor and submit a written apology to all City Council members and to the public for a serious breach of duty. And I would expect that this complaint would be investigated most likely by a third-party investigator, and hopefully that's to my satisfaction. If it remains unresolved, I'm prepared to escalate this issue. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bineker. Appreciate it. All right, any further questions or comments? All right, I do not see a call for any workshops, executive session. If there's nothing else, then the council will go ahead and adjourn the session at 6:27. All right, thank you much.